Thank you so much for joining me. I am Dennis Orfik. Well, of course, this is business now. The federal government has so far saved about 1.45 trillion naira from earnings generated from the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, between June and September. This is according to FAAC allocation documents obtained from the website of Nigeria's Governors Forum and National Bureau of Statistics. Analysis showed that the funds remitted monthly to the non-oil revenue savings account of the government received a sum of 696.93 billion naira in June, 389.7 billion naira in July, 71 billion naira in August, and 289 billion naira in September. President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of petrol subsidy during his inaugural address on May 29, 2023. Before the removal, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited said it spent 1.828 trillion naira on subsidy payments between January 2023 to May 2023, 55% higher than the amount paid in the corresponding period of 2022. On August 1, 2023, President Bola Tinubu, in a nationwide broadcast, revealed that the federal government of Nigeria has saved 1 trillion naira in the 2 months, June and July, since the removal of the petrol subsidy. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on Tuesday said it had launched a new crude oil grade NIMBY and had shipped its first cargo in October, consisting of 950,000 barrels. A report quoting the executive director of the crude and condensate at NNPC Trading, Miriam Idris, on the sidelines of the August European Crude Conference in London, said the first cargoes of the new grade were sold to France and the Netherlands. She added that NIMBY is similar to other distillate-rich grades such as Focados, Bunga, and Egina, adding that the low sulfur grade commands a premium to the global Brent benchmark and is a good grade to compete with Brazilian and Azeri crude grades for European refiners. Production of NIMBY is currently around 50,000 barrels per day. The NNPCL said it is aiming for a rise to 80,000 barrels per day by the first quarter of next year and 150,000 barrels per day by the start of 2025. The development comes on the heels of recovering crude oil production, which went from a low of 900,000 barrels per day last September to 1.3 million barrels per day last month. Now, the federal government on Tuesday solicited the cooperation of private sector investors in deepening the utilization of liquefied petroleum gas in Nigeria. Minister of State Petroleum Resources Ikperipe Ekpo made the call at a gas conference in Abuja, where he tasked investors and other stakeholders in the industry to address the energy transition gap with a sense of urgency and strategic direction. Ekpo, in a statement issued by his media aide, Louis Iba, also pledged the commitment of the federal government in creating a conducive environment to support investment and innovations in the LPG sector. He stated that the government's focus is on harnessing the potential of LPG in transforming the transportation sector through the wider adoption and use of auto gas, creating diverse fuel options for domestic generators, stimulating growth in agriculture, and protecting the environment from deforestation. The minister explained that the use of liquefied petroleum gas as a cleaner and more efficient fuel for vehicles was a practical step toward reducing carbon footprints and managing the environmental impact of the country's transport sector. Now, the presidency has cautioned Nigerians who are hoarding foreign currencies to stop forthwith, warning that the policies of the government would shock them. The special advisor to the president on economic matters, Dr. Tope Fasua, disclosed this at the Carries to Cash lecture and launch on Tuesday in Abuja. He disclosed that President Bola Tinubu's administration is working on policies that will strengthen the naira. There has been a steady rise in the value of the naira owing to the clearing of outstanding forest backlogs owed to banks, leading to significant losses for speculators. However, FASWA said the trend is expected to continue as a result of policies being implemented by the government. FASWA representing Vice President Kashim Shettima at the event added that for those who are speculating and praying and wishing that the currency would become nonsense, the policies being ruled out by the central bank and the government will shock some of them. Now, the government has made a 713.1 billion naira revenue windfall from the devaluation of the naira. An analysis of the government's earnings has shown the devaluation of the naira in June was meant to boost the country's foreign exchange earnings and revenue in the process, and so far the federal accounts has been boosted by 713.1 billion naira in exchange for different earnings between June and September 2023. The figure for the Federation account was extracted from the monthly communique of the Federation Account Allocation Committee for the period under review. In June, exchange difference revenue and rate differential was 147.7 billion naira, and in July, 39 billion naira was exchange gain, while 283.91 billion naira was from exchange gain. In August, the Central Bank of Nigeria asked deposit money banks to remove the rate cap on the naira at the official investors and exporters window of the foreign exchange market to enable its free float against the dollar and other global currencies on June 14, 2023. The Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria has again lamented the lack of access to foreign exchange, which it says is crippling the baking industry, in addition to high levy on raw materials importation of bread production. It also identified limited prospects for ease of doing business as another key impediment for the baking sector in the country. Speaking on Wednesday in an exclusive interview on iBrandTV's flagship business program, Business Breakfast, the national president of the group, Engineer Emmanuel Onora, called on the federal government to make favorable and implementable economic policies that will encourage and promote baking in the country. According to him, the federal government, through a deliberate policy, should suspend levies placed on wheat and other baking products to encourage investors' survival in the industry.
How can the banks be making those kind of humongous, either PBT or profit, PAT, whatever you want to call it, and the real sector, the formal and informal sectors are suffering? There's a disconnect. It shows that there's something they're not getting right. So where is the money coming from? Is it just coming from charges? Electronic money transfer every time, 50 naira, 500 naira on your account, and you don't know where it's coming from. The bank in Nigeria does not support this, the real sector. For instance, today I need a loan to do something with my bankers. They are not giving me. Even if they want to give you a loan to even to do minor expansion in your business, they are telling you about from 32% interest rates. How does business grow like that when we are supposed to be financing the small, the minor small, MSMEs? We are supposed to be, financing them because they are the fulcrum of which most economies in the world dovetails and gets a leeway from. You don't finance them. What do you expect? So the banks cannot be feeding fat, declaring humongous profits, while the real sector and the informal sectors are suffering.